It began as a humble tractor and evolved into the deadliest predator on Earth. Today, we track the complete evolution of American armor. Across every single era, this is the definitive story of U.S. tanks. We start with World War I, the CLB-75. This strange prototype was essentially a farm tractor wearing a steel tuxedo. It resembled a mobile shipping crate more than a war machine. The Holt Gas Electric. America's first real tank attempt was actually a gas-electric hybrid, decades ahead of its time, but sadly too heavy and clunky to survive the Great War's mud. The skeleton tank. This bizarre contraption was mostly empty space. Designers used iron pipes for a massive frame, hoping to span wide trenches without the weight penalty. The Ford 3-ton M1918. Think of it as the Model T of tanks. Small, cheap, and designed to swarm. It was meant to overwhelm enemies, but the war ended before mass production began. Then, the M1917 light tank series. Essentially a licensed clone of the French Renault FT, this vehicle became the absolute backbone of early American armor. It served loyally for years after the fighting stopped. The Mark 8 Liberty. A colossal Anglo-American joint effort, this behemoth was long enough to bridge the widest trenches, but that sheer size made it a logistical nightmare. The M1921 medium tank. A critical shift away from the tiny tankettes. This model introduced a fully rotating turret, setting the template for almost all future development. The M1922 medium tank. Evolution here focused on suspension, using a complex cable system. It promised a smoother ride, but mostly delivered a maintenance headache. Moving on to the T1 light tank series. These 1920s experiments tested radical new ideas, surprisingly fast for their day, but they lacked the heavy armor to survive a real fight. The T1 Christie M 1919. Designed by the legendary maverick Walter Christie, this radical convertible ran on either tracks or wheels, incredible road speed, but the brass found it too eccentric. The T2 medium tank, a heavy, boxy prototype trying to jam a large cannon and machine guns together. Ultimately too heavy and underpowered to actually work. Next, the interwar period, the M1931 Christie, Walter Christie's masterpiece. That revolutionary suspension allowed it to literally fly over rough terrain at speeds unheard of in the early 1930s. The M1 light tank series. To dodge legal restrictions, the cavalry called these combat cars, not tanks. These were lightly armored speedsters built purely for scouting missions. The M2 light tank series. The direct ancestor to the famous Stuart. Early versions rocked multiple turrets like a land battleship, but eventually settled on a reliable layout. The T4 medium tank, a fast medium borrowing Christie's suspension, promising on pavement, but it threw a tantrum whenever the ground turned into a muddy mess. Up next, the T7 combat car, an experiment in extreme wheeled speed, lightning fast on flat ground, but lacking the versatility to be a real frontline tank. The M2 medium tank series. A machine gun porcupine with barrels pointing in every direction. Not a great fighter, but it taught designers what a medium tank actually needed to be. The Marmon Harrington CTL-S series. Tiny light tanks built mainly for export. Low power, but cheap and simple to maintain during the chaotic early war years. Next up, World War II, the M3 Stuart series. Famous for speed and reliability, British crews affectionately nicknamed this light tank Honey. It became a staple, for scouting missions throughout the entire conflict. The MTLS 1G14, a strange design cramming two main cannons into one turret, originally built for the Dutch. It ended up as a quirky trainer for American forces. The CTMS, another export design seeing limited use. This three-man light tank tried to pack a punch, but it never found a home in the U.S. arsenal. Now, the M3 Lee Grant series. A tall, awkward stopgap mounting a massive gun in the hull, not the turret. It looked ridiculous, but brought desperate firepower when the Allies needed it most. Next, the M4 Sherman series. the legendary backbone of Allied victory. Neither the heaviest nor the strongest, it won by being reliable, repairable, and built in staggering numbers. The M6 Heavy Tank Series, America's first real attempt at a heavyweight, massive and well armed, but sadly too fat for most bridges to handle. The T7 Light. The M7 Medium Series, it started as a light tank, ate too much, and became a medium. It couldn't compete with the Sherman, so they scrapped the project. The T20, T22, and T23 Medium Series. Experimental replacements for the Sherman featuring lower profiles and fancy transmissions. They paved the way for the next generation of American armor. Then, the M5 Stuart Series, an upgrade to the early lights boasting twin Cadillac engines. Exceptionally fast, it stayed useful long after heavier armor outclassed it. Then, the M22 Locust. This tiny tank could be carried in a glider. Meant to support paratroopers, its paper-thin armor made it a death trap once it hit the ground. The T-14 Heavy Tank, a joint British project to create a heavy assault tank. Only a few prototypes existed before commanders decided mobility mattered more. The M24 Chaffee, a huge leap forward. With a powerful 75mm gun and silky smooth suspension, the Chaffee was a lethal scout. The M26 Pershing series, finally. From a heavy hitter that could punch back at German Tigers. Arriving late, it proved a formidable modern design. The T26 E4 Super Pershing, an experimental variant. Its oversized gun caused massive balance issues due to the extreme weight. The T28 T95 Super Heavy Tank, less a tank, more a moving fortress. It needed 4 sets of tracks just to support its own bulk and thick armor. The T29 Heavy Tank Series, designed to hunt King Tigers, this monster featured a massive turret. It never saw combat, but its DNA defined the Cold War. Up next, the T30 Heavy Tank, a heavy variant equipped with a massive 155mm gun, designed for sheer demolition power against the toughest bunkers. The T32 Heavy Tank Series, essentially a Pershing on steroids. Similar parts, but thicker armor and a long-range cannon for sniping. The T34 Heavy Tank, the final post-war heavy evolution. It featured a converted anti-aircraft gun, giving it incredible armor-piercing capabilities for the time. Moving into the early Cold War and Korea, the M46 Patton series, the first tank named after Patton, an improved Pershing with a much better engine. It dominated the Korean War battlefield, but speed was the new frontier. Enter the T-41 light tank, an experimental scout designed to evolve, fast, agile, light enough to be tossed from a cargo plane. The M41 Walker Bulldog series, a success story defined by mobility and a punchy gun. A global warrior and crew favorite, simple to drive, lethal. Moving on to the T-42 medium tank, the intended replacement for aging armor. The hull was underwhelming, but that turret was a masterpiece, stolen to create the M47 pattern, the M47 series, a hybrid Frankenstein design. New turret meets old chassis, rushed to the front lines during the Cold War's peak. The M48 pattern series, a total redesign, the definitive icon of Vietnam. Rounded turtle shell armor for superior deflection. Now, the T-54 medium series, stuffing a massive cannon into a medium frame. The solution, an oscillating turret. Maximum firepower. Minimum size. Up next, the T-69 medium tank. Unique, experimental, a bobbing turret with an autoloader. The goal was automation, shrinking the crew. Moving to the T-92 light tank. Incredibly low profile, built to parachute into the kill zone. It looked like science fiction, canceled for versatile, boring alternatives. The T-95 medium tank series, a high-tech playground, smoothbore guns, composite armor, innovation central, tech that birthed the legendary Abrams. Now, the M103 heavy tank series, America's last heavy. A giant built to snipe Soviet armor from miles away. Armed with a colossal 120mm cannon, the T-57 heavy tank, experimental. A strange oscillating turret designed to rapid-fire heavy ordnance, too complex to survive. Now, the T-58 heavy tank, even bigger. A prototype rocking a massive 155mm gun, oscillating turret, heavyweight champion. Next, the T-110 heavy tank series. Design studies with a mission, squeeze a heavy tank into a compact package, fit through tunnels, an ambitious, claustrophobic engineering challenge. Let's look at the late Cold War. The M60 Pattern series. The Cold War workhorse, the first true US main battle tank, serving for decades, countless upgrades, a lifetime of service. The M551 Sheridan series. Light, air-droppable, firing shells and missiles, aluminum armor to save weight, basically a soda can with a gun. The MBT-70, a sci-fi joint project, US and Germany, packed with futuristic gadgets, too expensive, too complex. The XM803, the budget version of the 70, trying to keep the cool features, practical enough for mass production. The M60A2 Starship, named for its looks, a massive 152mm gun launcher, firing shells and missiles, but the system failed in the mud. Now, the M1 Abrams series, redefining warfare, jet turbine engine, incredible armor, a new standard for speed and lethality, the RDF-LT, rapid deployment light tank, air transportable, high velocity gun, tiny profile, stay hidden, scout ahead, the HIMAG, experimental high mobility vehicle, testing advanced suspension, less of a combat tank, more of a science lab on wheels, expeditionary tank, designed for the Marines, ghost turret, powerful gun, light enough for rapid transport. Stingray light tank series, private venture, export success, main battle tank firepower on a featherweight frame, sporty and mobile, the M1 Abrams series, the big upgrade, famous for its 120mm smoothbore gun, Gulf War icon, total battlefield dominance. Finally, the modern era, the M1A2 Abrams series. Entering the digital age, advanced sensors, thermal sights, internet for the battlefield, the M8 Armored Gun System series. Intended to replace the Sheridan, modular armor, bolted on, victim of post-Cold War budget cuts, the Elavi 105, strapping a powerful tank gun onto a wheeled chassis. Designed for speed, stuck in the prototype stage. Now, the Abrams TTB, crew deep in the hull for safety, unmanned turret, operated remotely like a video game. The M1 CATTB, massive test bed for future tech, gargantuan 140mm gun, staying ahead of evolving threats. XM12 O2 mounted combat system, future combat systems, lightweight, highly networked, the smart tank, deployable globally. Next, Griffin II, modern light tank, Abrams power, lighter chassis, foundation for the new mobile protected firepower. The M10 Booker series, the newest Arsenal edition, heavy fire support for infantry, filling a decades-old mobility gap. Up next, Abrams X, sci-fi demonstrator, hybrid electric engine, unmanned turret, lighter, fuel efficient. The M1 E3 Abrams series, the next major leap, weight loss, survivability, ready for modern threats like drones and missiles.